right. Hello, everyone. We are back with another edition of the Optrics Insider. My name is Scott Young, and I have Sean Sturby, our Technical Services Manager. So good morning, Sean.
Hello.
Okay, so we have a bunch of topics to talk about. First off is a friendly reminder, it is SySAdmin Day at the end of the month, so you might consider buying them a drink or a pizza because they've been busy. Cloudflare has an outage, VPN hack, and then finally the Garmin Cloud was down. So if you have a Garmin watch for running or whatnot, that you would probably be aware of that one. So let's start talking about why the IT people who work at your organization have been busy lately.
It's actually a wonderful quote that I saw last week that said, if your IT admin is seeming to be a bit grumpy this week, please forgive them. There were Apple updates, there were Microsoft scheduled updates, Adobe had updates, SAP had Patch Tuesday, and then there were unscheduled updates. Oracle dumped 443 bug patches out. Cisco had a number of security updates. And then there was the Twitter hackapocalypse, if that's how you can say it there. It's been a very rough week for anybody dealing with network patches or network security. So it seems appropriate that at the end of the month, it's SySAdmin Appreciation Day. Appreciate all the things that your SySAdmin does.
You most likely don't see because they're in their server room or whatever doing. But if after all this your network is still running, that's a good thing. Okay, let's talk about Cloudflare. They had an outage.
Yeah, so Cloudflare, most people don't realize they're a content delivery network. And one of the things that they also provide is they provide a good DNS service. They have the 1.1.1.1 DNS service. Google has 8.8.8.8. Cloudflare has 1.1.1.1. And then you can set any of your devices to use their DNS service. It's usually one of the faster services, and they're so busy with all of the things that they get, they don't really want to log where you're going. And it has ability to possibly speed up your connectivity. But they had a 25-minute outage on that service, highlighting that you don't always want to focus just on one provider. So thankfully, DNS has the ability to have a primary and a secondary. So maybe use Cloudflare for the primary, and then Google, or if you're Canadian, Sierra's got a DNS service. Cisco has their umbrella service. Don't focus on, or don't be restricted to only one. So they did an analysis, and they saw traffic drop about 50% across their network. They mentioned a ton of cities that were affected, including District of Columbia and Washington and Chicago. And ultimately, it came down to a misconfiguration. They were making a change, they applied the change a little too broadly, and then all of a sudden the traffic was supposed to be going one way, it all went the other way and overloaded systems. They're working on it. So, networking is hard. People that do this for a living and this is all they do, they still make mistakes. So have a backup. Don't rely on a single provider.
Okay, good advice there. So VPN hack. No, let's start with, can you talk about what a VPN is for people who might not know, and then talk about the hack?
Sure. There are three types of VPNs. So there is the VPN that companies will set up between branches. So they will have a router at each location, and they will set up a tunnel between the two locations, and effectively making those two offices able to talk without the traffic being exposed on the internet. That's the virtual and VPN, virtual private network. It's previously you would have had to have had a dedicated connection through your provider. So that's the first type. The second type is, okay, I'm working at home and now I need to get to some resource that's at the office. My computer can have a VPN connection into the office. And those were not what were hacked this time. Previously, they have been. The third is what people are using to preserve their anonymity on the internet, where they sign up for these VPN services and they can install that software on the computer, and the VPN software is basically tunneling them to the provider's network someplace. So, if you're in Canada and you would really like to be able to see videos on BBC One's service, which is geo-locked only in being available in the UK, you could get a VPN provider that has a gateway, an outlet out there in the UK. And now, as far as BBC One player is concerned, you are in the UK. It also keeps your local ISP from spying on anything, because everything is between you and wherever you're popping out on the internet is encrypted. So in this scenario, one of these services, UFO VPN, I haven't heard of them. One of their policies to be able to say that, we are preserving your anonymity on the internet is we don't log anything. Well, they got caught with their pants down because a database belonging to them was online for more than 2 weeks. Almost a terabyte of data was exposed, and it contained things like account passwords in plain text, the VPN session secrets, the IP address that the user used to connect to the VPN, where they were connected to, where they were connecting from, the device they were using, and where they it also appears that they had the VPN service was, since they're so inexpensive, they have to make their money somehow, advertising. And so they were injecting advertisements into the people's browser sessions and keeping track of that. So the supposedly anonymous VPN service, not so anonymous. Buyer beware.
Interesting. Okay, and finally, the Garmin Cloud was down. So Garmin is well known for GPS units for your cars, but they also do smartwatches. Now, I have a Fitbit. I'm charging it at the moment, but if you're a runner or active, you would know about Garmin watches, and you'd also probably know, if you're out with the nice weather lately, been running and noticed that their cloud was down. So what are you hearing, the reason behind that?
Yeah, what I've heard is that it was a ransomware attack on their network.
Oh.
So somebody clicked on something that they shouldn't have, and they've had to go into maintenance mode. They've shut down. The website and the mobile apps are down. Their call centers were down. They couldn't receive calls, emails, or even online chats, and had to have a multi-day maintenance window to deal with the aftermath. Had to shut down all of its official websites, the Garmin Connect user data syncing service, and more interesting, the Garmin aviation database services. Now, thankfully with COVID, and there's not a lot of people actually flying, but there's still some planes, and the FAA, I believe, is the Federal Aviation Administration, and or the various different services around the world, they require that any pilot that's about to take off have an updated set of maps. Most people, our pilots these days, are using digital maps on a Garmin device. And so this made it impossible for any of those pilots to get an updated database of airports and frequencies to call and any of that. Very interesting. One customer, this was more on their Garmin Connect data syncing service, that the fact that their website is down makes my watch not talk to my phone make me upset. My phone is working, my watch is working. Both are nearby, but the data that has to go from one to the other has to go out to the internet and back for the two of them to communicate. It's an Internet of Things issue, which nobody would notice as long as the connectivity was good.
Interesting.
So,
Oh, I know Fitbit can talk to my phone with a Bluetooth connection, but ultimately for the app to work, it needs an internet connection to go out to the main site. So first world problems, I guess.
yeah,
For the watches, obviously, a lot more um, important when it comes to pilots not getting updated GPS maps. So, wow.
yeah,
So that's a good a good reminder just to make sure your staff know what not to click, but also consider that if something happens that they do click a link that they shouldn't, the type of security you have in the background that can block it, because it'll happen at some point.
mm-hmm. And also highlights having a backup. And I don't know if Garmin's going to do this, but they tied everything together so that a smartwatch used the same infrastructure as their aviation navigation line of business products.
Oh.
They should have separated them. A watch is not mission critical. Maybe the mission critical aviation navigational equipment should have a dedicated hardened separate network that it runs on, so that somebody clicking on a bad link in an email doesn't take down every pilot's ability to update their maps.
Wow. Well, I'm sure there are some interesting lessons learned that when they designed it, they didn't think about these things, but
Mm-hmm.
well, I guess hopefully they can recover from this and to build a more robust system. Interesting. Okay, so just to recap here, so reminder that it's SySAdmin Day on the 31st, I believe.
This Friday, yeah.
So be sure to thank your IT person, buy them a pizza or coffee or something. Cloudflare had an outage. There's a VPN hack, sounds like with UFO VPN. And then the lessons learned from the Garmin Cloud being down. Anything else you wanted to add, or are we good to go there, Sean?
No, just remember to treat your sysadmin good, because they're dealing with this kind of stuff on a day-to-day basis.
Fun times out there, no doubt. Right on. Well, thank you for your time, Sean. Have a great day, great week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.